Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We are again working on the Corvette. Today we're kicking off a bit of a project we're going to call Max Effort E-Force. What do I mean by that? Well, we're going to go above and beyond some of the steps that the other E-Force owners that I've seen out there do. I've seen people do a couple of these steps. I've seen people do a couple other steps, but I haven't seen them do all of these steps. And what am I talking about? Steps, I'm talking about efficiency, lowering IATs, improving airflow, and just general stuff like that. So today we're going to be kicking off this project with a part actually from Edelbrock. And for whatever reason, actually I know why, but for the base model Corvettes, this would not be an option. But if you guys are running a ZR1 hood, you guys can actually do this step. So kind of throwback to the Chevy SS behind me, we installed the ZL1 Supercharger lid. And the ZL1 lid is physically larger and taller than the CTS-V lid. And that is why that car makes an additional almost 30 wheel horsepower difference over the CTS-V lid, is just due to the fact that the Supercharger lid, blower hat, whatever you want to call it, is physically larger. It has more surface area in it to allow more air to get into it, go through it. I think with that additional air volume, it allows you basically to run a little bit cooler because the air goes in, has more room to swirl around before it goes into the intercooler than into the motor. When you've got a restriction, this is kind of about airflow. So when you've got a restriction, a smaller blower lid, you have physically less space for the air to go in a smaller lid. And the Corvette, we'll show you, has a very small lid on it. And as you guys can see, this thing is barely an inch tall in its tallest spot. You guys might be wondering, well, what are you going to replace it with? This is an Edelbrock blower, not a GM blower, so I don't have a bolt-on Camaro ZL1 lid, or an LS9 or something like that. I don't have a stock piece to bolt on. This is true. However, we do have a lid to bolt on. Here it is. This is the Camaro TVS 2300 lid that Edelbrock sells for the 5th Gen Camaro. And as you guys can see, this lid has a ton of room in the back. The back of that blower lid is probably 3 inches, give or take. And yes, it does taper down to the front, so it is a little bit narrower. But even at its smallest point up front, it's still way taller than what the Corvette lid has. And as you guys can see, this thing is like, what? That's the thick of the flange here. That's maybe a ½ inch. So you've got a ½ inch there, and if you go up here, we have a solid, like 2 inches. Now, I have only seen one other person install this lid on their Corvette. They had a supercharged hood, and they had to do a number of steps to get this lid to fit. I may have to do the same stuff. The benefit is, on the Corvettes, I'll show you. The thing that we don't have to worry about on the SS or the Camaro or the CTS-V is that the back of the blower, where the hat is, does not sit past the cowl. If you guys had a Camaro, you guys would know that that lid, actually on the ZL1 specifically, is up tall and then goes straight down 90 degrees down and then has a general curve in it. That curve is what slides underneath the cowl on the SS Camaro, the ZL1, whatever. So, we don't have to worry about that here. The only thing we may have to worry about with this E-Force lid, this upgraded Camaro lid, is the actual height of the blower and my hood. Now, I am running a Corvette ZR1 hood, so I've already gained 2 inches in the basic design of the hood. The only drawback is that we do have a vented hood, so that actually comes back in and comes back down. But this vent was designed to clear a stock LS9 lid. I do not know if this lid will clear a lid like an LS9 lid with a spacer or a nitrous plate, whatever. What I'm talking about is they sell spacers for the lid itself, and it has a direct port nitrous system in it, or they sell a spacer to go underneath the blower. It's those plastic spacers. I think it's phenolic plastic, however you pronounce that word. Those basically just raise the blower up to like a 1/2 inch or whatever. You know, so I figure, I don't know if that hood vent is designed to clear those. I've never seen anyone run that vent and have all those other mods. So I'm just not entirely sure at this point. But the only thing we can do is find out, and we have bought a couple pieces of hardware to help us if we do have to make clearance. I'm not expecting to have to trim that vent. I mean, if we absolutely have to, if you guys look, we could. Like if we had to absolutely trim the bottom of this, we could, as long as it's not the center support, we could trim this. You know, I really don't want to take the hood and have to go get it repainted, but if we absolutely had to, we could. The only part I'm worried about is the very back. And as you guys can see, there's not much of a design vent. Like, it's pretty flat right in the very back. And that's probably the worst part. Alright guys, we've gotten all 14 screws out, bolts, and so we should be able to break this loose and remove the lid. Alright guys, lid is off. They came out with no major issue at all. I'll show you what's inside. As you guys can see, there is a diverter. I actually just saw a LS9 part being developed by Greg Kong at Kong Performance. They're making a billet diverter for the LS9. So they've got this huge cavity, and it basically bolts between the two bricks on the LS9 blower hat. So there you go, we've got the stock lid off, and you can even see where they went in and machined out where the intercooler tanks, the end pieces of them, were probably hitting the lid. So the very end pieces on both sides of the blower hat. I kind of wanted to show you the inside of the supercharger before we put the lid on. Now, this is a TVS 2300, and as you guys can see, we might be able to turn this. You turn it a little bit. There's the 2300 rotors on the inside. Here's the LS9 style intercooler brick on one side. You got the brick on the passenger side, and there you go. And here is the gasket, which, you know guys, I think we're good. I don't think we're gonna have to replace this. I was a little concerned about this gasket, because this is like a $50 gasket, guys. And yeah, no, we're good. I'll just put that back. And yeah, so this is the inside of the 2300 lid. Now, no one sells a aftermarket intercooler brick for the E-Force. As a matter of fact, I kind of think they're TIG welded in. They're bolted in there. Are they TIG welded in? They very well might be. That will suck if one of these ever break. Yeah guys, so I mean, if that's the blower case and there's a TIG weld there, TIG weld, yeah guys, I think those these are not serviceable. Otherwise we're gonna have to cut them out of the car. Huh. So there goes any thought on upgrading those. I mean, no, like I was saying, no one makes a kit for this. I'm sure something could be manufactured, fabricated, but you know, none of the like bolt-in LS9 stuff would work, because the LS9, I believe, have coolant coming out the front and maybe the back. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it is just all in the front. So yeah, that's all right. So I do not think that these are serviceable. They might be. They may not be. I don't know. So anyway, and there's the wastegate internal diaphragm that opens up when we are off throttle and making no boost. So that opens up and dumps any boost pressure. Think the gasket's lined up. Let's try to get this thing installed and not mess it up too bad. All right. Now, the big question is, how bad is this going to hit the hood? I have no idea. Like, I tried to pre-measure, but okay, with the hood not latched, it's not hitting. As I was expecting, we were going to hit the hood, specifically the hood vent. And where it's hitting, kind of surprising, is actually the second rib of the vent. It's sitting the second one right here, and that's approximately here. And if you guys look, that's not even the tallest part of the blower. This is. So we are going to have to resolve this. So there's a couple ways you could resolve this. One, don't run this hood. And what I mean by that, don't run this hood vent specifically. If you guys ran the plexiglass window, you would gain probably a good ½ inch. And that might be all that we need. I'm simply not sure at this point. You know, with that plexiglass window is actually recessed. It's more flat, like fitting it's raised. What I mean by that is underneath the hood, it goes up and then out. Upward edge of the plexiglass hood vent is where you'd gain clearance at. So that might be one option. Second option, remove the window entirely. You know, that way you've got just a hole in the hood with a blower sticking through the hood. Kind of Mad Max style. And that is what Callaway actually does on the C7. They've got like the front hood vent for the radiator, because that's what the C7s do. And then they've got a hole in it where they cut out for their taller, basically blower hat. So you could do that. I'm obviously not going to do that. It's not my style. Or if you guys have a stock hood, cut a hole in it. You do that too. That's always an option. Because honestly, guys, everything's waterproof under there. It's all weather pack connectors and O-ringed, and to prevent water from getting inside the block. So you'd be good there. Second option is actually what comes on the C6 Z06 install when you do the E-Force. You actually have to lower the subframe. And Edelbrock provides you spacers with the kit, but I found out that they actually get their spacers from Lingenfelter. So here we go, guys. We finally will have a Lingenfelter part on the car. These are subframe spacers that you put underneath the front subframe. So there's 4 bolts, and these are approximately 1/4 inch thick. that is one way that we're gonna try to resolve this hood clearance issue, is space out the subframe. And just blowing the subframe a quarter inch isn't gonna do anything. Like, it's not gonna affect anything. And most superchargers you get with the Z06, specifically on the C6 platform, you install those anyway, so you lower the whole motor. And we've already gone in and loosened all of the engine cradle bolts up front. Did not undo the motor mounts, just the subframe up front. And what we're gonna be using are these stainless steel 1/4 inch spacers, basically. What we're gonna do is slide them up into the subframe like that. So lower the subframe down, put the C-shaped ones in the back. That's the back. The front is going to have this double C-shaped one, and one's going to slide into the bolt, one's going to slide into the alignment mount up front. Alright guys, now we can tighten the the back. We're not going to tighten it too much because we still need to get the passenger side over. I just don't want the subframe hanging down all that much. So we've tightened that a little bit. It's not all the way tight. I'll snug the front down, then we'll do the passenger side. Alright guys, good news and bad news. Good news, we're able to get the hood to latch on one side. If you guys come look over here, and when we try to press down on the passenger side, watch the second hood vent rib, you'll see it flex. That's the hood vent hitting the top of the blower lid. So that helped out a little bit. Not a big ordeal. Like I said earlier, the next thing to do will be to modify these motor mounts. And honestly guys, since all we need to do is get, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, maybe, you know, 1/8, 1/4 of an inch, and these are solid so they won't flex and rock like the stock motor mounts do. What I might end up doing is just take this bolt out on both sides, the bolt, nut and bolt, and slot the motor mount downwards. Now you guys can see that we've got roughly, a little bit more than a 1/2 inch between the top of that bolt right there and the aluminum billet piece of the motor mount. So my thought is slot the motor mount, push it down, and unfortunately we're on our 3rd set of motor mounts trying to figure this thing out. The first set is stock. I have that right here, and the stock motor mount is kind of tall. This is the OEM height, and plus it actually has this 1/4 inch spacer on it, so it's even a little bit taller. That is the stock height. The second set of engine mounts, which is actually what the car is sitting on, is the torque solution motor mount. And with that, they're like clamshell, so you're able to groove out the bottom of the mount and lower it down. Well, I should have done some measuring before I actually started that. Slotted one of the motor mounts, and actually those torque solution mounts are taller than stock. So when I slotted it, even going all the way down, that torque solution motor mount is still taller than stock. It's about the same height. So that's our second set of mounts. Now, yes, I did kind of cut one of those up, but I already own them. I bought them over a year ago, so no big deal. I got it as a package deal for the trans mounts, and like I said, not a huge deal. The third motor mount that we have is from Hinson Motorsports. This is a 3/8 of an inch drop compared to stock, and basically if you put them up next to each other, that extra rubber pad is kind of where that 3/8 is coming from. So if you set them side by side, this top hat right here, this top like part of the rubber, that's basically not there. So that's going to be hopefully enough room to get this motor dropped down another 3/8 of an inch over stock, you know, compared to stock, and hopefully get this hood clearanced. Now I did see a guy running there. I'm not the first person to put this Camaro lid on the E-Force. There's another guy out there running it. He's got a supercharger hood and the same combination of motor mounts, but I'm not sure if he had the Lingenfelter subframe spacers installed as well. I don't really remember, but we will see if this is going to work. So hopefully this does. If not, this Camaro project will be almost for naught because I'm going to have to take it off. Alright guys, as you can see behind me, we have a fully closed ZR1 hood. I'll take you over here to the driver's side where I've got a stool. It closes, but we are rubbing on the top of the blower. And I'll just do a little sound test right in the middle. Hollow, 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 hollow-ish. Hear that? Hollow. Definitely this one. If you guys can see, it looks like it's rubbing at the base right here where the red line is. So here, 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 and here. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to mark a piece of tape and really cut a little bit. And I'll try to be professional about it. I think I'll put tape on the outside and then cut it from the inside. We should be able to get this done. So we got like an interesting combination of parts here. We got a ZR1 hood, we have the ACS hood vent, we have the Hinson Motorsports 3/8 drop motor mounts, and we have the Lingenfelter Performance subframe spacers, and we're finally good. I did check, guys. We are probably within a ½ inch of the subframe, so that may impact whether we are able to ever run a bigger, lower harmonic balancer. What do I mean by that is a lot of guys go like a 10% oversized pulley on the bottom. Gives you a little bit more boost. It's kind of one of the last things that people do. We may not be able to do that just because of how close the subframe is. So, you know, trade-offs. And if we get to that point, we may ditch the hood vent or do something custom. I don't know. But it is going to need a little bit of trimming, like I said. But we'll take care of that. One of the last things you might have to worry about is the intake, and that's going to be a whole nother project and video. But just fair warning, you may need to buy the A&A Supercharger subframe lowering brackets for the radiator. There's a radiator subframe coming off the frame. There's also the engine subframe. And I know that A&A sells I'm not sure the size, it might only be like a ½ inch, but that's kind of what we're going to need, I think, to clear the intake setup that we're going to be running on here. So just a fair warning, you might need to buy another set of brackets. And we're kind of using a bunch of pieces from a bunch of different parts and manufacturers, but I think we'll get this to work. But that's gonna be it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Also, if you want to know when I upload new content, hit that bell notification button down below. And if you guys want to help support the channel, as always, click the links down below. Thanks guys, have a great one.